All right, I'm giving a go at no scripts, no topics of no topics in front of me, no words, no nothing. Simply off the top of my brain. Let's see if I can come up with something. Ooh. Um hmm. Considering my head is filled with so much stuff, what do I talk about? What do I randomly talk about? Oh. Mm. Oh, I don't know. Why don't I just talk about, say, blood test results? Okay, so blood test results. A lot of you guys don't even look at them, but you can actually get printouts from your doc of your blood test results, which are really, really handy to have because it's a really good marker to like, okay, let's go back to here. How often do you go to the doctor when you're feeling well and healthy and fine? It's like, hi, doc, I'm just here to get a checkup. Not many. I mean, who really goes to the doctor when they're really, really healthy? Not many. Not many people. So when you're looking at those within, oops, sorry, microphone, with those within range numbers, right, at the end of each thing, like say you're checking iron or HBC or liver and kidney function, just all those little things. So say hemoglobin. Okay, everyone knows what that is. That's blood, right? So normally a nice healthy hemoglobin number is about 150. And then it's got on the right, it's got ranges like between this and this is normal ranges. Now, when you think about it, if you've had bloods taken from different labs, right? You've had bloods taken from different labs like QML, nickel and solivides, nickel, what Nickelodeon, whatever they're called, and some other blood places. The ranges are different. They base their ranges on other people's bloods that come in. So everyone who ever gets tested, they're the ranges that they put in. They're not working with optimal ranges. And how often do healthy people go to the doctors to get their blood results taken? Those ranges are sick people ranges. And a lot of people, even doctors, don't even know that. They are sick people ranges. So when you're looking at that and you're within range and you're still feeling pretty crummy, yeah, well, something's out of whack, right? Something's out of whack. A lot of docs, they don't know any better. They just look and go, well, you're healthy, you're in range. I mean, I can remember when I was like feeling really tired and something was wrong with me, but I didn't know what it was. And I had been collecting my blood results for years and I've got them in a drawer actually right beside me. So probably the last 15, maybe 20 years if I'm lucky. Definitely the last 15. And so I've got all of those. And when I went to the doc, and then she had a look at my ranges, she had a look at my iron studies, and she looked at them and she said, oh, no, they're fine. And I said, but I don't feel fine. And I walked away, not really getting an answer to why I was so tired, why I didn't have as much energy, why I couldn't. Oh, it was crazy. It was like there was like no energy there. Like, what is wrong with me? Why don't I have the stamina that I had before? Because it's crazy. So I figured it out. It's ferritin. My ferritin was very low. So apparently, if your ferritin is below 40, you're looking at things like increased tiredness, even hair loss, even in females, hair loss. So every time you put your fingers through your hair, that could also be other things too. It can be like not enough protein, or it can be other things. Could even be not enough zinc. But then zinc, we get into a whole other area of stuff here with zinc because you need optimal zinc and optimal water to produce the hydrochloric acid inside your stomach, for example, to digest your food. If you're not digesting your food properly, and if the hydrochloric acid is too close to neutral, so for it to be, oh, okay, think of it this way. This is where my brain goes. It goes all over the place all the time. It's hard focusing on one thing because I can just go here and then 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 all of a sudden, anyway, what was I saying? So with optimal digestion, for example, the hydrochloric acid that is inside your stomach, for example, should be in a range between, I think it's 1.5 to 2.5 is really, really, really good. So it will break down, it will kill pathogens, it will kill bad bacteria, it will kill parasites, even if you happen to ingest any, it will kill that stuff. Anything above that, not so much. Now, with zinc, like zinc and water is needed to create the hydrochloric acid. And when you say, oh, my stomach acid is low, the lower the number, the more acidic, which is good. Some people, when they say my stomach acid is high, and they seem to think that it's too low. This is where people can get confused. So it's like, well, what number is it? So when it comes to acids and bases and stuff, you've got, I keep knocking the microphone. You've got things like, so you've got 5, no, you've got 7. 7 is neutral, right? 7 is neutral when it comes to acids and bases. So acidic is anything below 7, and alkaline is anything above 7. So you certainly don't want neutral hydrochloric acid, because it's like, then nothing's happening. You ain't getting no nutrients, nothing's happening. So anyway, what was I getting to? I was getting to the fact that if your hydrochloric acid is not optimal, I'm going to use the word optimal, because if I say high and low, then people get confused and da-da-da. If it's not optimal to digest the proteins, and it needs to be an optimal number, less than 3, to digest the proteins from the meat, to break them down enough to get out all those minerals so that your body can like suck them up and absorb them. If it's not, then you're not getting your iron, you're not getting your minerals, your calcium, your whatever. And on the subject of PPIs, is proton pump inhibitors, those antacids, and even when you have blood transfusions, they even try to give them to you. It's like, oh, here, take this. It's like, oh my God, why do you want to do that? Those things are really bad. And a lot of people take them because they have too high stomach acid, which is causing reflux. And reflux is, when you've got that tingly, horrible feeling, like it feels like you sort of vomit up a little bit. That's reflux. That's actually a whole other kettle of worms right there. Not literal worms. But in saying that, that's actually, most of the time it's because the sphincter, you've got 2 sphincters. You've got a sphincter here in your neck, and you've got a sphincter sort of at the start, sort of just below that, just at the top of your stomach before the opening is to get into your stomach. You've got 2 sphincters there. So if those sphincters are like not closing properly, that's why you've got reflux. So if you think that taking a tablet and making your stomach acid go more neutral, which means you're not absorbing anything, really. And if you're doing that long term, you're looking at things like osteoporosis, you're looking at iron deficiency anemia, you're looking at lack of zinc, lack of immune system, you're looking at a whole lot of problems right there. So, and yeah, and how I would fix that is you want to, there's actually receptors inside there that tell your sphincter. There's receptors inside your stomach. Your whole body's like got receptors, and it's always talking to itself. It's always talking to other parts of the body through hormones or through neurons or through receptors and all this stuff. And your body just talks to itself all the time, just to make sure that homeostasis, that just right section of the body is just, there, because that's what it wants. It wants this optimal, okay, let's go. Let's take these nutrients, use this for here. Let's keep this running optimally, And of course, when it comes to the body, it can only work with what it has. So if you're filling it up with crap, or if you're around lots of toxins and stuff, it's going to deplete a lot of stuff. And again, it can only work with what it has. So if it's not getting enough and it needs something from somewhere else, it's going to pull it from another section of your body and use it, which will just deplete stuff more. So back to my point. What was my point? I need to think. Hang on. Back to my point. Oh yeah, right. The sphincters. The sphincters. So we go back to the sphincters. So which I actually want to do. See, because those receptors are not saying, hey, the stomach's, ready for digestion. Now we've got to close up. Those sphincters have to be, the sphincters have to detect the optimal stomach acid in the stomach. If it's not detecting optimal stomach acid, it's not going to close it. So what do you want to do? You want to pump up the stomach acid, wait, I'm using the wrong term here. You want to get it optimal, all right? So you want to get it nice and acidic. So yeah, you can do that with zinc. You can do that with other foods. It just sort of depends on what kind of a deficiency is going on, that sort of thing. So what does zinc have to do with anxiety, for example? So when it comes to anxiety, anxiety is not only a trauma-based psychological, emotional issue. It can also be a nutritional issue. It can be a lack of certain minerals issue, lack of nutrients. It can be what I like to do is I like to rule out first the emotional, psychological issues first. And then once those have been cleared, then I like to work on the physical body and like what's going on with that. And that way, once the psychological, emotional stuff's been tactfully dealt with and it's been cleared, all the negative stuff's been cleared, that makes the body a lot faster and easier to heal. So then we can sort of focus on that. And then once we focused on that, then we can start working on the spiritual side of things. So values, life purpose, relationships, that kind of stuff, which is really, really good. So, but yeah, the fastest thing, the absolute fastest thing to clear first is the negative emotions, limiting decisions, and trauma, and all the emotional stuff, all the emotional baggage, all the emotional stuff first. So that's what I like to do, and that's the fastest thing to clear first. So and with that, like things like chronic pain can start to disappear depending on where it is and where it's been held, because when you're looking at things like, you know, why does someone have chronic pain? So now, assuming everything else has been ruled out, because obviously you've got to rule out things logically first. You want to rule out, well, is there, you know, is there a growth there, or is it something else, or is there some sort of degenerative thing happening? You know, what's going on first? Rule that out first, figure that out. But when it comes to chronic pain, if everything else has been ruled out, you've been checked out, according to this, there's nothing structurally wrong. You shouldn't be having this pain. That's where emotional trauma, negative emotions, that kind of thing comes into play, because it can be your unconscious mind, for example, trying to want to surface something, and then you yourself consciously doesn't want to deal with it. Don't want to deal with it, don't want to bring it up, wants to forget about it. It's like, no, I'm going to do this. And then the unconscious mind is going, hey, come on now. You know, we're going to deal with this. And conscious mind's going, no, I'm going to go over there and do that and da-da-da. And then pretty soon your unconscious mind, for example, which is the 6-year-old version of you, is pretty much banging at whatever section of the body that you've got chronic pain in. So dealing with that can actually reduce or even take away the chronic pain. So that's another really interesting thing too. But that's right, I was talking about blood results, wasn't I? Oh dear, certainly not a run track mind, that's for sure. Yeah, blood results, going back to that. Yeah, so the blood results ranges are sick people ranges, because they're the only ones that I mean, obviously there's an occasional healthy person that comes in, which will just sort of skew their regular ranges. But aside from that, it's more a case of they're sick people ranges. So when you're looking at within range, it doesn't necessarily mean that they're optimal. So for example, my ferritin was not optimal. It was like I was at a point where I was bruising really easily, and it was crazy. Rapid heart rate that can be very, very low. You know, low iron stores, low iron levels, all of that. So, but when you get a blood results, and usually like they'll find iron, like iron will be on your blood results, but unless they've requested iron studies, you won't see ferritin on there. So iron is just indicative of what did you eat last night? How much iron did your body get from that last night? That's all the iron is. So it can be high, it can be low, it can be whatever. It's dependent on what you ate the night before. So it doesn't mean much, really. Not the iron actual result. The ferritin one and those other 2 results, which I can't think of at the moment, are important. So bet you didn't know that. And yeah, So take that however you want to take that. But yeah, with anxiety, it can be nutritional deficiencies. It can be a combination of trauma. A lot of it's trauma. A lot of stuff starts in the mind. It really does. It starts in the mind first. And yeah, it's a good thing though to rule out nutritional deficiencies and everything else as well. Simply because you want the body running really well. I mean, I could even talk about microbiome and stuff as well. And the whole immune system is there's a lot to do with microbiome and good bacteria with the whole immune system and the way the body talks to that talks to the body, and then the vagus nerve, and so many different topics that I could go over that I'm not going to ramble on at the moment. But yeah, there's that. Anyway, I have a lot of stuff that goes through my head. That's why I've got to write one little thing down at a time. Anyway, I will leave that there, and yeah, have a good day. Bye.